You ever look at the news and it feels like you're getting hit from all sides? A tech stock is going to the moon. There's some new AI that's changing everything. And at the same time, there's all this political drama and economic uncertainty. It feels like total chaos, right? Well, what if I told you that these aren't separate stories, that they're all part of one single narrative that's unfolding right now? Let's connect those dots.
Because that's exactly what we're seeing. It's the summer of 2025, and two massive, world-shaping forces are on a collision course. And if you want to understand what's really going on, you have to understand both of them. So let's start with the first piece of this puzzle. And our story starts with a company you've probably heard a lot about lately, Palantir Technologies. Right now, they are the single best-performing stock in the S&P 500. But here's the weird part. The higher that stock climbs, the more Wall Street seems to freak out. It's a total paradox. I mean, on the one hand, you can't argue with the numbers. They just blew past $1 billion in revenue in a single quarter for the first time ever. That's a 48% jump from last year, and it marks their 8th straight quarter of accelerating growth. Their CEO says it's all fueled by, and I love this quote, bombastic AI demand. But on the other hand, you've got analysts using phrases like nosebleed valuation. That's not just casual concern. That's a serious alarm bell, warning that something about this incredible success story might be fundamentally broken. And when you lay it all out, the two sides are just incredibly stark. The bull case? It's simple. Record revenue, growth that's speeding up, and a brand new massive $10 billion contract with the U.S. Army. The bear case, though, is just as compelling. A price-to-earnings ratio over 500. Think about that. The average price target from analysts is 30% below where the stock is trading right now. And most of them are telling clients to sell. So what is going on here? See, the crazy hype around Palantir isn't just about Palantir. It's about the engine that's fueling the whole thing. A full-blown revolution happening in artificial intelligence. It feels less like an upgrade and more like a Cambrian explosion of new life.
For a little while, it felt like there was only one way to build powerful AI, the proprietary path. You know, like OpenAI. But their next big model, reportedly codenamed Orion, hit some major snags. It turns out just making these things bigger and bigger was costing a fortune for smaller and smaller gains. But now, a second path has just burst onto the scene, open source AI, and it's being led by a company called DeepSeek. They've built a model that can go toe-to-toe with the giants. But get this, it costs them an estimated $5 to $6 million to train, not hundreds of millions.
So how on earth is that possible?
Well, the secret sauce is a really clever architecture called Mixture of Experts, or MOE. Think of it like this. Instead of having one giant generalist brain trying to do everything at once, you have a team of smaller, specialized expert networks. And a gatekeeper system routes each question to the best expert for the job. It lets you build these huge, incredibly capable models without the insane computing costs. It's a total game changer.
And what's just absolutely wild is the speed of all this. DeepSeek was founded in July of 2023. By January 2025, they had already open-sourced their groundbreaking model. And just a few months after that, you had Chinese tech giants like Baidu and Tencent scrambling to pivot their entire strategies toward open source. It's no wonder people are calling this the Android moment for AI. It's that disruptive.
Now, of course, moving this fast does have its downsides. One safety audit found the model could be jailbroken, basically tricked into bypassing its safety rules with a 100% success rate in some tests. And because DeepSeek is a Chinese company, any data you put into it gets processed in China, which obviously raises some big privacy questions for users around the world. So that's one side of our collision, this incredible, explosive, and kind of risky tech boom. And that brings us to the second major force.
Because this AI revolution, it's not happening in some clean, stable lab. It's happening right in the middle of a global economic high-wire act. And walking that tightrope is the U.S. Federal Reserve. Just to give you a sense of how shaky that tightrope is, look at this. After some really weak U.S. jobs data came out, the market's bet on a Fed rate cut in September shot up from 63% to 92% in a single week. That is a huge swing, and it tells you there's some serious anxiety about the health of the economy.
But here's the catch. Here's where it gets really messy. In this kind of environment, even the data itself becomes a source of anxiety. The market, and maybe even the Fed itself, isn't sure it can trust the numbers it's being given. And you can trace exactly how that trust fell apart. It's like a chain reaction. First, after those weak jobs reports, the president fires the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Right away, skepticism about the integrity of all government data starts to spread. Then, a Fed governor actually resigns, specifically citing concerns over political interference. And the result? A crisis of confidence in the very institutions that are supposed to be the bedrock of the economy. So what happens when you smash these two forces together?
Well, you get this. You get what we're living in right now, an age of profound uncertainty. It's this precise moment in history where a world-changing tech boom is running headfirst into a wall of political and economic chaos. And these two big forces, they aren't happening in a vacuum. The backdrop to all of this is a world just buzzing with constant overlapping headwinds. You've got trade tensions, geopolitical conflicts, major environmental disasters, domestic political standoffs, humanitarian crises. The list just goes on and on. The baseline level of instability is just incredibly high. And here's the most important point of all. This instability, it acts like a giant amplifier. It takes all the excitement and potential of the AI boom and makes it feel fragile, brittle, like a bubble that's just waiting to pop. And it takes the normal wobbles in the economy and makes them feel like the beginning of a genuine crisis. It makes everything feel more extreme. Which really just leaves us with the central question of our time, doesn't it? When technology is moving at the speed of light, but our political and economic systems are busy sowing chaos and doubt, how do any of us tell the difference between a speculative bubble and a real breakthrough? That's the challenge. That's 2025.